Hello friends, this is Chris Orwig. I am a Sony Artisan photographer, author, and teacher. And in this tutorial, I want to share some tips with you about how we can create better black and white photographs using Lightroom and the Develop module. We'll be working with a handful of different photographs, starting off with this one here. I want to zoom in on this. This is a portrait, obviously. And what we can do is in the Develop module, we can go to our basic panel and we can convert an image to black and white by desaturating. We've all done that before. Then from there, we can increase our contrast and maybe bring up our exposure, and modify shadows or the blacks. Yet really, there isn't a ton that we can do in regards to changing the tonal relationships of the image in regards to the areas that are bright or dark. Now, the desaturation is being controlled, or the look is being controlled by our temperature and our tint, but those sliders won't give us much help. So rather than desaturating, a better way is to convert to black and white by clicking here or by clicking on B and W for our black and white controls. Now, the reason why this is better is because it gives us control. And with portraits, that is really, really important. Let me show you why. Take a look at what happens if I decrease the oranges and the reds. All of a sudden, all of the skin tones have become much darker and we see more of the imperfections. On the other hand, if I bring these up, you can see it's almost like I'm retouching away those little imperfections or variations in the skin. So with portraits, often what I'll do is bring these values up. Okay, well, let's look at an example of that. Here's another portrait of the same person. What we want to do is go to our black and white controls. Now here we want to bring up those reds and oranges. Typically that's what I do, at least with my portraits. Yellows, there's some yellow in the hair. It might be nice to kind of, and the eyes there too, kind of bring those up too, right? Then combine that with our work in the basic panel. So in the basic panel, we can add contrast. Black and white images love contrast. You want to deepen our blacks, maybe bring up the shadows and drop the highlights down a little bit. Then the other thing I want to point out with this image is clarity. I'm going to exaggerate for a moment and go to 100 points of clarity. Now, if you were to do that with a color image, it would look horrible. But with black and white, it isn't completely ruining the photograph. And the point isn't to go to 100, but the point is to say that black and white images tend to like a little more clarity than color photographs. Okay, let's move to another image so I can share another tip with you. This one I'll zoom out a little bit. Here we'll go to our black and white controls. We've talked about how we can brighten up the skin tones, but then all of a sudden you may notice that the background has a lot of yellow in it, right? So I can control background elements as well. I can really brighten up the background that we're seeing there. Then we'll go back here and go through our dance of using our various sliders to create a real dynamic and strong and interesting black and white image. So again, it's never just one set of controls, it's combining the two together. Okay, well, let's jump to a different type of photograph so that we can see how this applies in another way. This is a photograph of my wife's grandmother's barn, or it's her great-grandmother's barn. All right, well, anyway, here's the image. If we go to our black and white controls, when we go there, it removes color, so sometimes you may forget, wait, what color was the grass? Was it green or yellow or maybe a little bit of both? Well, you can grab this tool. It's called the Targeted Adjustment tool. Position your cursor over an area of the image, then drag up or down. If you notice my sliders yellow and green, because there's both there, I'm changing the value of that. Or I can go into the sky, which has a little bit of blue in it. I can darken that up as well. So, and then you can, of course, combine that with the other techniques that you know as far as using your basic controls and maybe a little bit of clarity there too. And so in this way, we create a really kind of rich and dynamic and interesting black and white image super quickly. So once you learn this technique, you're going to start applying it everywhere. Let me just go to two more images so you can see this applied in a couple other scenarios. So here, again, just want to drop the sky down. I'm going to exaggerate for a moment. You can see how I can really darken up the sky there, or click and drag on the plants in the foreground. I can brighten up those yellows, which I'm seeing in the plants. And then you can always fine tune with your sliders too, and go back to basic and use these controls to change the look of it. Last but not least, one more. This is more of a sports photograph. It's of someone I know jumping off of this diving board. And if we zoom in, we can see the subject. So we could say, great, it's a kind of a photograph of a person. It's not a portrait, but I want to brighten up those skin tones, so we could do that. But then we have all of this in the background. This is all green. So if we click and drag on that, drag down, we can separate the subject from the background, or we can brighten up the background. Let me zoom out so you can see how I can either have that separation or a brighter background. And this way I can really fine tune how I want this to appear. And I want a darker background because I think that's kind of cool how we can see the diver and we can see that background becomes more of a solid backdrop, and then she's even more separated from that. All right, well, there you have it. A handful of different examples of how we can create better black and white photographs. Most importantly, the biggest tip is to say that what we want to do is we want to go to the Develop module, and rather than just desaturating, we're going to go to those black and white controls where we can fine tune the brightness values of the different areas of our photographs. And of course, now that you know this, you can combine this skill with the other things that you know how to do in Lightroom as well. All right, well, hey, thanks so much for joining me in this tutorial. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye for now.